Hello, this is Nice Wonder. Welcome to the NOWMAN show. Clifford Tasner is the president of the Southern California chapter of Americans for Democratic Action. He is a composer of film, theater, and chamber works. For the last 17 years, he's been writing and producing the songs for the political satire street theater group, the Billionaires. And Clifford, thank you for being on the NOWMAN show.
I'm delighted to be here, Dan. We've known each other a long time.
Yes,
You've actually
we
been
have.
a billionaire.
That's right. I've
you
actually
marched
been
with
a
us.
billionaire.
Didn't we do the Pasadena? We did the Doo Dah Parade.
We did the Doo Dah
But then
Parade.
we also did Occupy the Rose Parade.
That's right.
That's right.
So we met actually, I think in 2009 actually.
That's
so
right.
we've known each other for a long time.
Doing it.
Before
Any of this NOWMAN stuff, you were Nice
yes.
Wonder as far as I knew.
Well, Nice Wonder, but yeah.
Nice Wonder, yeah.
But the very first episode you're in from the Doo Dah Parade. So yeah, it's
so
great
we've
to
come
finally
full
have you
circle
here.
And,
yeah. So now, as a musician, let's talk about that. You do orchestration.
I orchestrated a lot of really big Hollywood films like The Hobbit, Harry Potter, Argo, Life of Pi, Godzilla. And I composed smaller films. I had a film that I scored about the death of Michael Brown that was in Sundance last year.
Wow.
So I'm a film composer. I'm also the kind of big lefty artist composer who will score somebody's documentary about something that is important politically that people need to know about and do it at the special, I waive my creative fee activist rate so you can do your film. So I've done that. Like there was a healthcare movie called Now is the Time, and I did it at the special artist activist, I want to support your thing rate. So So I do that, and trying to be an artist activist is very important. But I've been doing
Yes.
the Billionaires for 17 years,
Wow.
using humor to try to get people and satire to get people thinking about the big issues. The fact that we've got a cohort of very, very rich people who are making all the decisions about our society. The billionaires are a bunch of men in top hats and women in evening gowns pretending to be the corporations that own our society and buy a lot of people in both political parties. So
And you've done a great job. I mean, drawing attention to that. Like the first time I saw you, you were chanting like, "Who got the bailout? We got the bailout. Thanks for the bailout."
That's right.
Yeah, that was it makes a huge
people
impression.
loved it. People loved it because
Yeah.
people need to feel empowered. It's a kind of sympathetic magic. Like in the old days, you know, when our ancestors were, you know, during the Ice Age, they had to do the bear hunt because if you didn't hunt the bear, you'd starve. So they'd get ready to do the bear hunt. They'd be getting ready to hunt this huge, powerful creature. So they'd do the bear dance and they'd put on the bear suit, you know, the bear fur from the pelt from the previous year, and they dance the dance to the bear goddess to ask the bear goddess to fill their limbs with bear energy and get power. And the thing is, a lot of our, you know, we as a leftist movement are often like, well, this is what's bad, this is what's wrong. It's really very gratifying to pretend to be the forces that are enslaving us, the forces that are oppressing us. And I love that I have an evil alter ego, felonious acts. I find that by having an evil alter ego, I can channel all the things that are wrong in our society. I wake up every morning feeling kind of elated and joyful and not carrying any kind of shtickluch around with me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, you can put it out there for people to see, expose it even more, and do it in a satirical way, which actually makes the greatest impact.
We take things to their logical conclusion. Like if
That's
these
right.
policies succeed, you know, talking about child sweatshop labor and talking about, you know, why should we put children in schools when they're only going to be working in child sweatshops, you know, in sweatshops. So we have the special child sweatshop apprenticeship program where they do the same job as the adults for the same hours with the same no bathroom breaks, and they get paid half as much, and those little hands can do such intricate stitching, believe me, you know. So
Well, instead of doing it here now, we just outsource it to other places.
right, well that's,
you know,
but we do the joke about that and we take it to its logical conclusion. So we have a video you're going to share.
You have some new videos
This one's
actually,
called
the
Make
Billionaires.
Government Suck.
Yeah.
It's all about the Trump administration's appointments. So here we are.
The guy from Goldman Sachs who, when the housing bubble broke, made a fortune by foreclosing homes of ordinary folk. Let him run the treasury, let all his days be spent crafting monetary policy just for the 1%.
Put the guy who's got a plan for privatizing Medicare up at Health and Human Services to give old folks a scare.
At the helm of education, let the gal who makes the rules be the one promoting vouchers to destroy the public schools.
Let the gent from Oklahoma who has sued the EPA run the agency he's suing cause it makes polluters pay. He'll be sure to shift their focus, then they'll have to follow suit till the nation's big polluters have the freedom to pollute.
The optimal executive is someone with the wit to match people with job titles for that extra special fit. Big government suck. Big government suck. Don't drain the swamp nor flush the buck. Don't give it to luck. Big government suck.
For Attorney General, a man who's got a grudge, whom the Senate found too racist to confirm him as a judge. A man who'll tell you Dixie is his favorite of songs, who's not protecting civil rights but waging civil wrongs.
And for the labor secretary, get the CEO of a chain of fast food restaurants that pay wages way too low. A man with safety violations brought a lot of fines, cause ignoring needs of working folks is how this fellow shines.
And at the State Department, get the Exxon CEO who sees the nations of the world in terms of oil flow. He will represent America across continents and seas and act in the best interests of the oil companies.
Let the people hate the government because of what we do, then we'll privatize the lot of it and no one will say boo. Big government suck. Big government suck. Don't drain the swamp nor flush the buck. Don't leave it to luck. Big government suck.
So, what is your take on all of these appointments?
Well, it's sort of interesting. The Republicans always talk about, government is the problem, and then when they do come into power, they make sure to appoint people whose entire mission is to destroy whatever department they're, remember James Watt when Reagan was president? James Watt was the Secretary of the Interior who was like, let's sell off all the national parks and let's get rid of the Endangered Species Act.
Yeah.
So, the thing is, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, so they can then, the average person be like, wow, government really sucks.
Yeah,
it really
that's
sucks
right.
because you don't have people who really. Government is us. Government could be us.
That's right.
We could have a great responsive government. Honestly, I would rather have an activist, progressive government that answers to me in the ballot box than privatizing everything so corporations run it. The whole purpose of government sucking is so we can then privatize it. If people complain, wow, the schools aren't working well, let's have these corporate charter schools come in. They're going to solve the problem.
So they're going to get the money that the public schools got.
They're getting
that
our
sounds like a
tax
scam
dollars.
to me.
It's look at the private prison industry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the
Same
prison
thing.
industry is wasting a lot of money. Every time we've privatized anything, the taxpayers were on the hook when the corporation didn't make money.
And we even privatized water now.
Oh, yeah, I know.
What's going to be next?
And Trump's about to appoint somebody who's working for the Cadiz project, which is going to pump water out of the desert to. Yeah, that's a great idea. Like California, let's pump water out of the aquifer to sell to people. This state is not going to have any water left.
Wow. So, and speaking of issues in the Democratic Party, there is also another Billionaires video called The Middleman.
No, that's not a Billionaires video. I want to be clear.
Oh, that's not.
I am the composer and songwriter that the California Nurses Association and Healthcare California has hired. I pitched them on this. This was my idea.
Oh, so this isn't
the
Billionaires.
idea is to a bunch of songs about healthcare because we know that as we try to pass SB 562, while Trump and the Republicans are trying to eviscerate health care in America, and get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which is not great. It was designed by conservative Republicans. It's Romney Care, but it is better than nothing. They're going to create something worse than nothing. And while that's happening, we in
both
California,
sound like they're pretty bad.
they're pretty, well, this is, there are a few features that are better than nothing.
That sounds like evil and lesser
evil.
evil.
Well, yes, but
evil.
the thing is, what we really always wanted, what progressives have always wanted, is single-payer, universal Medicare for all style health care.
And most countries around the world have it.
Everybody's
even
got
Saudi
it
Arabia and Israel.
for a lot less money.
Yep.
There's no insurance company. You remove the middleman, and here's a video about exactly that. So.
Healthcare guaranteed. Health insurance company, what do you say?
We're making mighty profits on the money you pay.
Health insurance company, what do you do?
We are the only thing that stands between your doctor and you. The health insurance money train is loading up at the station with employer contributions and the premiums you're owing. While we at the health insurance company wait in anticipation. When the train gets here, we get to decide where all that money's going. We take 30% of the money when it gets to us. A bit for advertisements and a chunk for administration and lobbying and something we don't publicly discuss. The millions of dollars we pay for executive compensation.
Health insurance company, what do you say?
We're making mighty profits on the money you pay.
Health insurance company, what do you do?
We are the only thing that stands between your doctor and you. When you get to see your doctor, she is waiting for that train. But it's claimed that we refuse means more money we retain. Those tests that we allow, those procedures we okay, mean co-payments and deductibles that you have to pay. Oh!
Then the people bought a new train and they built a brand new track that goes straight to your doctor, so it's never coming back to the company in the middle that got a taste of each transaction, and the people pay less money for a lot more satisfaction.
We lobbied the politicians to persuade them not to do it. Our multi-million-dollar ad campaign, they saw right through it.
There's guaranteed healthcare for everyone, comprehensive and complete.
Now our health insurance company is obsolete.
Health insurance company, what do you say?
We made some mighty profits, but it's all gone away.
Health insurance company, why are you so blue?
Now there's nothing left that stands between your doctor and you.
So that's a sneak peek. No one's seen that so far.
Wow.
And look, Prop 61 was going to lower drug costs, and the pharmaceutical companies spent $130 million to deceive and delude Californians into thinking that something good for us and bad for them would be bad for us, and et cetera. And so we know that as we try to pass SB 562, single-payer health care in California, which will save a ton of money, it'll be a lot cheaper. So Dan's got it right here.
I got it right here.
And anyway, so as we try to pass that, the health insurance companies are going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars. So we have to find other clever ways of getting out the message. We need clever social messaging. So I pitched them the idea of me writing a whole bunch of Schoolhouse Rock style videos.
Fantastic.
In the style, these are like retro 1970s Americana songs about healthcare, and if we can get it around, they did a study. The LA Times had a study that basically they exposed people to Koch brothers style climate change denial propaganda.
Wow.
But one group, they explained to them before the study that they were going to be exposed to corporate, deceptive corporate nonsense by the oil companies. And guess what? They not only were woke and saw through it, they stayed woke 3 years later when they followed up on the study.
Wow.
So the point is, if we can educate people, every one of these videos I'm making has the message, big corporations are going to try to deceive you with a deceptive ad campaign. So if everybody who sees it thinks about that, if we can get it out to every progressive group in the state, we can at least inoculate. We have to inoculate people, you know, since we have Citizens United, since we can't stop corporate America from spending unlimited amounts of money to deceive us, we have to try a different method of inoculating people using media that tells people, by the way, corporations are out to deceive you, and here's an example of how. And then when they see this thing, they'll be like, oh, well, this is some of that same corporate nonsense that I was warned about.
And since it's a system that is worldwide, basically, there is a rating system, and I don't know exactly how they do that, but the United States is like 80, and we're on the level of Montenegro, and the countries that have worse healthcare systems than us, guess what they are?
They're
countries that are in war right now: Syria, Afghanistan.
I bet Eritrea. I bet Eritrea's got worse health care.
Eritrea, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Romania maybe is where we're.
We are paying more for less.
Yeah.
And so anybody now, there was a report that came out that said it would cost $400 billion to. It's not quite exactly what's true. The fact is the state already spends $200 billion, we get $150 billion from the federal government, and we still have a situation where Californians are paying huge amounts of money in co-payments and deductibles. They get these high deductible policies, and there's still 4 million people living in California who do not have health care at all.
And I know the SB 562, you can actually go online and Google that and read the whole text of it. And it's based on essentially, you know, what's available internationally. I mean, that's
every other country,
the construct
every
of
other
it.
Western country
You can see it's very detailed in how they lay out the relationships. It all would be in California, anyhow, be centralized in Sacramento, working with even the private elements. But that would be the central location of where all the administration is
And we would have
done.
economy of scale, and we will cut out, as I said in the video, we will cut out the middleman.
That's right.
The middleman, there is a sort of remora sucking the blood of the lifeblood of Californians. That is the insurance companies. They produce nothing of value. All they do is they're basically equivalent of the Soviet era bureaucrat whose job was to keep the grain shipment from getting from Minsk to Pinsk.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, and created, you know, when there was a famine, that was the guy who was responsible, and he was doing his job. So, you know, they take 30% of the money, as I said in the video, 30% of the money that goes to mostly lining the pockets of corporations, insurance companies, rather than insuring people and providing health care. So
now you were recently at the California Democratic Convention in Sacramento, and it's my understanding that Nina Turner was there.
Oh, she brought down the House. Yeah, besides being president of Americans for Democratic Action, which is not a Democratic, we're not part of the Democratic Party, we're Democratic.
Yes, so you're actually president.
And I'm secretary of the national chapter, national organization. But I'm also a delegate to the California Democratic Convention as part of a cohort of progressives and leftists who are trying to take back, well, maybe not back, take the party. We are trying to come into the party and make it the kind of populist progressive party that Bernie Sanders talked about that can win elections.
Yeah.
It can win elections because right now, under Obama, what was it, 1,000 legislative seats all across the country turned red.
That's right.
So that's not a winning, winning message of let's bail out Wall Street. Corporatism is not a winning message. The Democratic Party needs to stop sucking on the teat of corporate America.
And we need to stop rejecting the progressives that are obviously, looks to me, at least here in California, which is the biggest, isn't that the biggest political organization in the Democratic Party in the country? And it looks to me like, just from what I saw online, that the majority of the people, delegates that were there, were progressives.
The base of the Democratic Party is way to the left of a lot of our elected officials and a lot of our party officers, and certainly the DNC. The DNC is largely not progressive at all. Which is why they had their thumb on the scale against Bernie Sanders, because I suspect these people would rather lose an election with a corporate centrist than even dare to imagine winning an election with somebody who will eliminate their job as a lobbyist for some corporate interest.
So they were willing to take a chance, by Bernie Sanders losing.
Yeah, they would rather not even try.
Right.
It would be too scary to have somebody prove that your entire political ideology of corporatism is based on nonsense and fails again. It fails again and again. The few times when we've elected somebody to be president, then the Congress, they lost us the Congress. Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, and
Yeah.
we lost us the Congress.
That's
You know,
right. That's
I
right.
thought Obama was a nice man. He was a smart man. He was the smartest man in the room. He ran a progressive campaign. He'd read George Lakoff. He knew he had a message from a progressive standpoint. And
Yeah.
as soon as he got in there, as soon as they brought in Rahm Emanuel and all of Clinton's kleptocrats that ran Wall
And
Street
Wall
into the ground,
Street, like
as soon as
Harry-
those guys
Harry-
came
Summers,
in,
Larry
Geithner
Summers.
and Summers, as soon as they came in, I was smacking my forehead and I said, oh, I
Here we
should have
go
known. I
again.
dare to dream, and not, you know. But we had a wasted opportunity in 2008. We had a wasted opportunity this last year. If we tried so hard on the left to provide the Democrats with a candidate who not only would have won the presidency,
Yeah.
would have taken back the Senate.
That's
Certainly,
right.
Russ Feingold wouldn't
Yeah.
have lost in Wisconsin.
That's right.
You know, would
That's
have
absolutely
taken back
right.
the Senate. May have taken back the House. Would have taken back state
That's
legislators.
right.
All of them.
And there would have been different outcomes in the election coming from Ohio and Michigan
And Pennsylvania.
and Pennsylvania
Yeah, yeah.
And Wisconsin and places actually that ended up with the Electoral College process giving the election to
Right.
Donald
So-
Trump.
so-
And getting back to the SB 562, do you think that this is going to pass? Do
Well,
you
here's
think-
the thing.
To your point about the corporate Democrats, SB 562 does not cater to corporate Democrats. Do you think they're going to support that?
Here's the thing. The corporatists
Because
won't
if they
support it.
fail that,
This is
that's disastrous.
Up to us. This is up to us. We activists. So here's the thing. People, the centrist, the corporatist Democrats are all like, we have to keep the Affordable Care Act in place. We got to keep it. That's their emphasis. They're not even interested in Plan B. But I got news for you. The thing that came out of the House, the Senate's going to maybe pass that, or they're going to maybe come up with their own thing that is also going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Trump signed an executive order that says the IRS can no longer go after people who don't have insurance. Trump is kicking out the struts that are keeping the Affordable Care Act sort of balanced.
Right,
And
right,
Tom
right.
Price is going to help him do that. And so you're going to see insurance companies raising their rates. They're going to be dropping out of these insurance exchanges. That's just going to happen. So California will have a choice. We have 40 million people. It's the biggest state in the
least,
country
right.
population-wise. 40 million people. Many of them, a huge number of them, depend on health care that they don't get from their employers. And so California can either just let us have the Ayn Randian dystopia that the Republicans in Congress are brewing for us, or they can raise a whole bunch of taxes to create a California Affordable Care Act, which is all going to go into the pockets of insurance companies as a bribe to have them keep reaming us the way they do. Or
Yes.
California can do what every other democracy does, and that's have universal single-payer health care. And so even if, whatever they say, saying it, they're not talking about in the numbers when they say it's going to cost this much, they don't include in that factor what it's going to save. It's going to save, they've estimated it's going to save like $3 trillion over
my
10
gosh.
years.
Oh my gosh.
And if we
Listen
do it
to
here,
that, $3 trillion. That's how many zeros?
that's a lot of zeros,
That's
man.
a lot of zeros.
So if we do that here in California, we'll see Oregon and Washington might join us. New York might join us.
That's right.
And it'll start spreading. And then Americans will be, and you see, we're trying to give the Democrats a winning thing to run on.
Yes.
You want to win in 2008?
Yes.
You want to
We wanna win
be the
2020,
progressive party?
right?
This is the cause to run it. You
The
want to
people
take back
wanna
Congress?
win in
This is it.
2020
This is
and
the way-
2018.
This is the thing. If the Democrats started doing this, you'd see everybody coming on board.
That's
you know,
right, that's right.
you know, people just, a lot of people voted for Trump just because they knew they did. He was posing as not a corporatist.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right. And
he
that's-
is a corporatist. He's
Right, and that's the mentality we need to change, and we've been trying to do that on this show for a long time. Talk about how we can do that and do that together. And let's wind this down now. Final thoughts, Cliff.
God, there's so much to think about.
There's so much we'll have to bring you back because there's so much we can talk about.
We have a lot of work to do. As I said, the Southern California chapter of Americans for Democratic Action meets the first Tuesday of every month at the Peace Center in Culver City.
Great.
At 7 p.m. And you can go to adasocal.org is our website.
Yes.
Sign up on there. You can find out when we're meeting. You can become part of the work we're doing. We are electing progressives who are credible and viable as progressives. And then we're lobbying them to get done the work that needs to be done and push the progressive agenda we need to pass in California. So passing this thing is going to require all of us getting involved. And if we do, it is going to be a huge, huge blow against the corporations that have been running our political system for so long.
And eventually we can be the influence that brings Medicare to all for everyone around the country.
Yeah, we pass it here, and then 2020, with any hope, maybe Bernie will be running again.
Yeah.
Whoever else is running, you know, this is going to be the way that we're going to beat the corporatists that are going to be running against him. So
thank you, Cliff, very much for being on the Now Man Show. Clifford Tasner, and this is Nice Wander. Thank you for watching on YouTube, and until next time, be present now. Hey, hello, this is Nowman, and I'm here again at the Doo Dah Parade. It's 2016, and let's meet some of the people that are new to the parade this year. So, you are a time traveler. This is the Dub robot here. This is a time traveler.
Yeah, I'm an actual time traveler. This device recycles people's wasted time.
I see.
Which is what we're traveling for.
Yes. So, so do you have a way of tracing where the wasted time came from?
So I've collected some of it here in these time containers.
I see.
And we can add some bass to it, because everyone needs a bass.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Some more time.
Yeah. All right. So we can actually dance the wasted time.
Yeah.
I get it.
And you're not wasting time when you're doing it.
Right. Find ways to recycle too, so it's environmentally friendly.
Job.
Now, man. Get a few friends, go for a ride. There you are. You're a lizard. So are you one of the reptilians that we're hearing about? So you guys are pursuing what?
Charities, donations for local communities. There's like a double side to it. You either just do it for fun, or for, like myself, I do it for charity. So I go to conventions, but I also do things around the communities to help raise awareness for whether it's homeless animals.
Now we know the corporate, it's the Highway Patrol.